Today, I'm here to tell you that your biggest problem isn't who's sitting in the Oval Office, it's about who's controlling your mind space. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Jeremy Giarrusso podcast. I'm Jeremy Giarrusso, and today we're diving into a topic that might get some of y'all riled up, but it's one I think we need to talk about. It's about how we get so caught up in things like who's our president, things we don't have direct control over, that we're just ignoring what's right in front of us. And I'm talking about the real issues, right? That hit us daily, things that we can actually control, but we don't because we're just too distracted. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do me a favor and subscribe, like, and comment. It costs you absolutely nothing, but it will help the algorithm reach more people and hopefully level them up with this message. With all of that out of the way, let's jump into it. So here's the thing, right? Every time there's an election or just some big news story, people start acting like it's gonna change their lives overnight. Shit, but maybe by the time I'm done filming this, maybe our whole world will change. All right, I'm sorry, but here's the kicker, right? Most of those things don't. And I'm not saying that the government and politics don't affect this. I mean, of course they do. But the scary part is how easily we let these things, like these big headlines, consume us, taking up our time, our energy, and our attention. I mean, as we talked about in previous podcasts, I mean, what is the most valuable thing you could give anybody? It's your time and attention. Social media has got that down point. Fuck, casinos got that down point. Don't you see a kind of pattern there? But anyways, it's it's like we're handing over control of our minds to things that have nothing to do with our actual everyday struggles. I mean, let's think about it, right? Like, how many hours a week do people spend on debating politics on social media? Like, I'm sure you could go on X right now and see people going back and forth between Kamala and Trump, or the individuals that binge watch like news stories all the time, and most of the time it's events like on the other side of the world, like things that'll never impact their daily lives. Meanwhile, their finances or their health or their relationships, I'm sure no one enjoys being around that much drama all the time, but like all the things that matter right now in the present moment today, they're just it. Hey guys, real quick interruption. Let me tell you about the Just Start Grinding apparel. Now, if you're like me and you care about high quality gym wear that looks great, keeps its original shape and integrity, and you also support a veteran owned business, then I want you to check out the Just Start Grinding website. I used to wear all sorts of gym wear, right? Like Gymshark, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and so many more that I can't think of right now, right? Now, you don't need to guess what leisure wear is right for you. I want to give you a 50% off your first order you make. So just go to juststartgrinding.com, use the code JSG Podcast,
to get 50% off at checkout. You'll also get free shipping for spending over $150. So go to juststartgrinding.com, all one word, and use the code JSG Podcast to get 50% off your first order. Now back to the podcast.
Here's the hard truth. If you don't pay attention to the things you can control, you're giving up your power. It's way easier to worry about what politician might or might not do than to sit down and figure out how to make an extra $1,000 this month or how to get into the best shape of your life. It's always easier to point a big finger, or maybe one finger in particular, right? But at a big bad government than to just take ownership and responsibility for the stuff right in front of you. But that's exactly what we do. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying we have to ignore everything that's happening in the world, but don't let it take over you, your thoughts, and your things, right? Because every time you do that, every time you worry about someone else's decision than your own, you're losing out on the chance to shape the life you want it to be. Now, let's talk about the things that you can do starting today, right? Imagine, right? Crazy thought, but imagine if instead of scrolling through endless social media, instead of scrolling through news apps for hours or participating in online arguments, you spend the time actually working on something that would change your life or impact the lives of others, right? I mean, I've said this before, but to be a go-getter, you have to be a go-getter. Like, hear me out. Let's spend maybe an hour a day. I know it seems like a long time, but trust me, it really isn't. But you spend an hour a day on a side hustle, learning whatever new skill. Or you could just learn a new skill. Or, fuck, go hit the gym. Real concrete actions. The kind of stuff that, makes a difference. Not whether or not, someone out there is gonna be president. Like, I promise you, it doesn't matter who the president is, right? To Okay, let me let me rewind. To an extent, it does, because I know there's going to be people in the comments saying like, "Oh no, it definitely." Yeah, well, yeah, you're right, bro. Like, it does matter to an extent, but at the end of the day, this is where I'm getting at, right? Is this is where the whole focus on what you can and can't control mantra kicks in, because let's face it, no one's coming to save you. It's definitely not our government. It's not the news, and it's not some dude on the internet claiming to be the guru when it comes down to politics and predicting what's going to happen next and all sorts of crazy things. It's up to you to take charge of your power. And that's the only way you'll ever get to where you really want to go in life. And the scariest part of all this is if you don't take control of your focus, someone else will. We live in a world now where every app, every media outlet, every politician wants a piece of your attention. And why, just like we said earlier, and just like we've said before on podcasts, is your time is the most valuable thing you could give anybody. But if you're not aware of that, here's your wake up call. But if not, you'll spend the rest of your life stressed out over things that have nothing to do with you. And you're going to miss out on all the things you actually could have done with your life to not only improve your life, but impact the lives of others. So let's make a pact right here, right now. Let's stop letting other people dictate what you care about. Stop focusing on the things you can't control. Instead, let's focus on the things that we can control, like self-improvement. Let's make our lives better so we can also make the people around us in our lives better too. Because in the end, that's what really matters. It's about growth in self, growth in family, and then once you get those two things, growth in your community. I feel like if we just focused on those things, America really would be great again. I mean, nothing against Trump, but we make America what it is. Our decisions, not just yesterday, but decisions of years and years and years. And it's not just one president or one person to blame for this. It's I guess a collective blame, right? Of one bad decision to another that has ultimately led to where we are now. And America's not bad. No, I mean, you should see how other countries are living. Trust me, if you live in America, if you are lucky enough to live in America, be grateful. Because I guarantee you, immigrants can tell you, depending on where they've come from, how grateful they are to come to America and what opportunities they have coming here. I mean, literally the sky's the limit, but that's a whole different topic for another day. But all that being said, big thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Jeremy Giarrusso podcast. And remember, whether it's health, wealth, or mindset, the first step is to always just start grinding. Until next time, take care and take control of what matters. Peace.